Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm Thor Schoenhoff, and today I want to take you through a journey of where Penguin Composites is heading and why I believe we can lead our sector as an ESG-driven, resilient defence manufacturer. While the context of this presentation is academic and industry-based, it isn't an academic pitch. It's a practical plan for how we stay relevant, credible, profitable, and as the market changes around us. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll cover 3 big strategic shifts and what they mean for our governance, our operation, and our people, and how we can lead the change confidently. Let's start by looking at the strategic landscape we're stepping into. When you zoom out 5 to 10 years, 3 forces stand out. First, mandatory ESG reporting. The Australian Sustainability Reporting Standards S1 and S2 are now finalised. The main difference is that S1 is a voluntary standard for general sustainability disclosures, while the S2 is a mandatory standard that specifically requires climate-related disclosures. So what does that mean for Penguin Composites? After 1st of January 2025, the company must comply with S2 mandatory standard for reporting climate-related financial information. This means it needs to report on its climate-related risks and opportunities. Being an early adapter will be key for future contracts. Secondly, sovereign capability. It's a catchphrase the government is throwing around, and the government procurement process now actively favours local and ethical manufacturing. Transparency within this is key, and it's non-negotiable. Third, our people pipeline. We've got decades of experience within the business and on the shop floor, but succession for this experience is then. If we don't grow leadership and backfill the gaps later, well, there'll be problems in years to come. We have an opportunity to look internally at our team and understand the direction we want to go as a collective group. Each of these is a risk, and that means it's also an opportunity depending on how fast we move and how we move. So let's start with the foundations, governance. Governance is our credibility test. Right now, our risk registers and reporting are mostly informal. Clients want verifiable data on emissions, waste, ethical sourcing, amongst others, and they'll use it to decide who they trust in terms of offering contracts and awards. By building a central ESG dashboard, tracking energy use, supplier audits and safety events, we turn compliance into an advantage. This is about reducing exposure, shortening tender life cycles, and showing that Penguin is in a position to demonstrate responsible and be a low-risk partner. Governance is a red tape. It's our license to operate in the industry that we work within. So let's talk about how we work and how we can be more adaptive. Right now, we still rely on manual systems and individual judgment. That's costing us margin and consistency. We need to build dynamic capabilities, and that means sensing what's changing and seizing the right opportunities within the business and transforming and evolving quickly. Digital forecasting, better cost modelling, real-time tracking of the tools, but it's really about creative learning loops, reviewing each project, capturing what worked, what didn't, and feeding that back into the circle. When we get that right, we stop being reactive and start being predictive and proactive. That's how you project margin in a volatile market. Ultimately, our culture and people will decide how far that goes. Systems enable performance and people sustain it. We've got an experienced team, as I mentioned. We need to shift from individual heroics to a shared team capability approach. When people feel safe to speak up, they innovate. They question. When they understand why we're changing, they own the outcome. That's where leadership development comes in. Coaching, mentoring, psychological safety. It's about building confidence, not just the competence of the team. If we do that, succession becomes a strength instead of a gap. So let's connect those threads. Strategy, governance, sustainability, and leadership form a single integrated framework. Treated separately, these pillars compete. Integrated, they compound. Strategy sets direction. Governance ensures accountability. Sustainability builds trust and value, and leadership aligns and energizes the journey in the team. Integration gives the board a clear line of sight one strategy, one dashboard, one cadence of accountability. When united, Penguin transcends short-term adaptation to achieve structural resilience. Alignment across purpose, process, and people is our differentiation. Looking forward, integrated systems yield competitive advantage in volatile markets. This is our recipe for enduring success. Now let's make the risks and the opportunities very clear around this. Every risk we face is mirrored by an opportunity when managed well. Risks, environmental societal governance, non-conformance threatens contract eligibility. So process inconsistency erodes margins, workforce fatigue impacts quality. Now the upside is if we choose to move first. The opportunities are early SG adoption builds defence tender credibility, robust processes improve profit and accountability, shared values enhance engagement and retention. Mature ESG isn't cosmetic, it's commercial. It helps win contracts, stabilise profit, and lift execution quality. Forward-looking, proactive risk management becomes a foundation for real business advantage. With the case established, here's the discipline action plan I'm recommending. 4 moves, each one with an owner, milestone, and measurable outcome. Formalise ESG governance. Centralised risk and compliance dashboard within 6 months. Integrate ESG into strategy. Embed ESG criteria into the next planning cycle. Aligned reporting. Baseline scope 1 to 3 emissions within 9 months. Annual stakeholder salience review. Sustained alignment and transparency. We can stage these in parallel and report quarterly. Signal to the market Penguin is credible, ready, and easy to engage. Collectively, these steps move us from reactive compliance to proactive credibility. Safeguarding revenue and reinforcing trust within Desmond Group and the wider defence ecosystem. Change begins with leadership itself, so let me illustrate my commitment to this journey. Leadership starts with me. Courage to challenge the legacy and empathy to bring the people along with us through the journey. Through this work, I've learned that ESG leadership means connecting logic with emotion, making change relatable. My personal strength, analytical rigour, and strategic influence. My opportunity is the storytelling, helping every employee see themselves in the strategy. We can relate it, they can get on board with it. So 2 personal commitments guide me. I've got a motivation to complete the Australian Institute of Company Directors course. We'll commence it within the next 6 to 12 months to deepen my understanding of governance. Another one is lead an ESG reporting pilot program in Penguin Composites, turning the frameworks into a live practice at Penguin. Success looks like a team that understands the why, owns the how, and can show the evidence. With this, let's circle back to the vision that anchors to us all. Today, I've set out the issues, the solutions, and my commitment to deliver. With the AASB, S1 and S2, Treasury's climate laws, and the rise in defence expectations, we can comply and lead. This is our opportunity. We talk about resilience as if it's built through systems or equipment, but true resilience is human, it's cultural. It's our people's willingness to uphold standards when no one is around watching them, and to adapt when change feels uncomfortable. As the saying goes, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept, and that's a cultural thing, a shift that we need to look at and change. Embedding ESG into governance and leadership institutionalises that behaviour. The reward's not just the compliance, it's the credibility. It's the kind that wins contracts and attracts talents. People want to work with us and sustains trust. Let's choose to lead. Thank you. I welcome your guidance and partnership.